Enterprise. I love this picture. It's just summertime happening, and I know someone had asked a question about the what this was constructed of and everything, and I will address that in the discussion on this discussion board. If you'll write me questions about that, I'll check that out tomorrow, and I promise to get back to you on this hoop house. But this is a 36-foot hoop house, and those are cattle panels that we secure with rebar, and we train the cucumbers to climb up those panels, which is a heck of a lot easier to harvest cucumbers off the ground than on the ground. But my point of doing this, aside from that it's a lovely picture of the cucumber house, is looking at the cost analysis. We have two categories to review. One is the cost of the hoop house materials, which would be the greenhouse plastic, the rebar, the PVC, the screws, the time investment to build it, the weed mat, the cattle panels for the climbing structure. And then we have an assessment for the actual cucumbers. We need to look at the seed costs, the fertilizer, the harvest yields, sales records, and always the labor needs to be included in there somewhere. We also keep track of if we ever have excess of any vegetable that we take to market, or any vegetable that we have left over at the end of a week from CSA or restaurant or farmers market harvest. I will make note and write down if we have excess that we're not selling. I want to write that down and know, so we have an estimate that maybe we should plant a little bit less. If I don't have enough, maybe we should plant a little bit more. But that's, if you're not writing that down, if you're not tracking that, you are not going to remember next year. So it's another thing to look at. Farm financial record keeping is a shortcoming for most of us, but I suspect that by the time you get through with this course, you're going to be pretty good record keepers, or you're going to at least improve on what you did last year, and that's all we can hope for. You got to give it your best shot every year, do the best that you can, and then do some more. That's another motto of ours. We have lots of mottos that keeps us moving forward. It keeps us fresh and trying to. I mean, I can always be better than I was last year. I think I'd like to have a really good year this year, and I'd really like it to be better than last year. And I can say that every single year I'd really like it to be better than last year, and I suspect that it can be the same for you. So this is definitely the time of year that we need to dedicate to looking closely at all the records we've been keeping through the production season. And as you're going through with a fine-tooth comb and looking closely at those, figure out what you're weak in. I guess you could even do a SWOT analysis of your record keeping, couldn't you? Look at your weaknesses and work on improving that. But we will review what worked and what didn't. In some cases, if a crop wasn't particularly successful, we might try it again, because there are so many variables for the success of a crop. Whether it's, we've grown things that are just we love, but they didn't do very well because the weather was bad, or the pests were bad, and it could be poor timing for getting it weeded at the right time, or we didn't get it foliar fed at the right time. Most new crops that we try, if we're doing a new crop, if we like it, even if it didn't meet our expectations, we might try it again. And we have learned that in doing good field research findings, it's usually determined after a 3-year trial, and that's a good way to go, because if you can repeat it in 3 years, most likely it's something worth doing again. So I found this publication, and I found it was, I mean, we have all these great resources, the books that you were mailed, but it's just wonderful to all the things that you could find on the internet, and this was something that I found that helped me over the years. So I thought I would share that with you on Farm Business Records, and it is in your Moodle site resources. The main thing is focus on good record-keeping systems and outlines of what good farm this has good farm record-keeping systems and tells you what they look like. And one thing that I acknowledge, like with our harvest records or with anything that we do, your farm records should be easy to keep. You want it to be as easy as possible, because if you make it too complicated, you're not going to do it. You're not going to write it down, which is why I keep with a spiral notebook, because the notebook is there. I don't have to come over to the computer and turn the computer on and go through that process. Not to say that that might not change for me eventually and that I might not end up doing spreadsheets or something down the line, but I'm not there yet. So I'm happy with my little spirals notebooks, and at some point perhaps I will transition to something different, but keep your farm record keeping system easy, and it should contain details of your operation and organizing your business transactions, and anything you do as far as your record keeping is going to make the tax season a lot easier. And with that upon us, boy, you'll be thinking about that all the way through. So Ken Hart talked a little bit about a couple different record-keeping systems with examples when he was on last week. There are so many different programs out there. There's QuickBooks, Quicken, FarmBooks, FarmWorks. I found one called Easy Farm Accounting. There was another one I just found online the other day called AgSquared.com, and they're giving 3 months free. I actually think I might check that one out and see what that's like. But a lot of these different programs will give you a trial to experiment with it and see how it works. There's lots of computer-based record-keeping systems available. It really doesn't matter how you do it, whether you do it a spiral notebook, spreadsheets, whatever. It only matters that you have a good system in place. And this website I put here, intoit.com, they actually have a thing where you don't have to buy the QuickBooks or the Excel. You can go on a monthly program, pay them, and ooh, I want to just eat one of those. Those are sun gold tomatoes. So I think we want to have a little poll question here.
Okay, I will go ahead and launch that poll. So this is really a double question poll. Are you satisfied with your current record-keeping system, and do you plan to make changes? So your options are yes, and I won't be making any changes. Yes, however, I will be making some changes. No, however, I won't be making changes. No, and I will be making changes, or you're not sure. 71% have voted. 88%. 94%. Okay, 100% folks have voted, and I will share the results. So 6% of our participants tonight are satisfied with their record-keeping system. Another 12% are keeping records, however they're going to make some changes, and 82% say they are not keeping records and they will be making changes.
82% are not?
82% are not satisfied with their current record-keeping system.
Right.
So it doesn't mean that they're not
Right.
keeping any records. They're not satisfied. Okay.
And there's another poll?
Well, there are a couple more polls, but they're not until the end. They're actually ones that I'm going to talk about, but you don't have another poll.
Oh, good. I didn't think I did.
No, that poll just had 2 questions in the question line, so I wanted to point that out.